Good morning, students. Today we will discuss about enzymes. Today it is our fifth lecture, and in this class we will discuss about the isoenzymes. I am Dr. V.M. Hardas, Associate Professor in Department of Biochemistry. So, what are isoenzymes? These are the multiple forms of same enzyme that catalyze the same chemical reaction, but their physical properties and chemical properties are different. For example, they may have different Km and Vmax values, or their electrophoretic mobility is different, or they have different kinetic properties. Their amino acid sequence is different, or amino acid composition may be different. So they are the multiple forms of same enzyme. They catalyze the same chemical reaction, but the forms are different. For example, we take the example of 1 rupee coin. There are different forms of 1 rupee coin, but their face value is same. Similarly, these are the different multiple forms of same enzyme, but they catalyze the same chemical reaction. Isoenzymes are physically distinct forms of the same enzyme, different molecular forms of same enzyme. They are synthesized from various tissues. They are called isoenzymes. Study of isoenzymes is very useful to understand the diseases of different organs. And isoenzymes, they are made up of subunits. If all subunits are same, protein is homomultimer, represented by single gene. If subunits are different, protein is said to be heteromultimer, produced by different genes. Isoenzymes are formed in different ways. They may be product of different genes, more than one locus, in which case they are known as true isoenzymes. The genes may be located on different chromosomes. For example, salivary and pancreatic amylase, they are true isozymes. They are products of different genes, salivary amylase and pancreatic amylase. They are true isoenzymes. And in some cases, all the different forms are present in the same individual. For example, lactate dehydrogenase. It has 5 isoenzymes, and they are all seen in all persons in the population. Now next, what are alloenzymes or allozymes? The same locus of gene may have different alleles or alternate forms. Such allelic isoenzymes are called allozymes. In this case, only one form will be present in one individual, but all the different forms will be seen in total population. For example, more than 400 distinct forms of glucose 6-phosphate dehydrogenase have been identified. All of them are produced by the same locus on X chromosome. So, same locus of the gene may produce different alleles, may have different alleles, and such allelic isozymes are called allozymes. So, there are total 400 distinct forms of glucose 6-phosphate dehydrogenase. But in one individual, only one form will be there. But all these 400 distinct forms will be there in the population. But in one person, only one form will be there. So that is called as allozymes or alloenzymes. When isoenzymes due to variation at a single locus occur with appreciable frequency, it is said polymorphism. Molecular heterogeneity of enzymes may also be produced after the protein is synthesized, means post-translational modification. These are called isoforms. For example, sialic acid content in alkaline phosphatase isoenzymes. Different types of isoforms may be seen in the same individual. Isoforms means their difference is after the translation. So modification is after translation. Post-translational modification uh, can produce the different forms of the enzymes, and this is called as isoforms. For example, alkaline phosphatase isoenzymes. These are isoforms because their sialic acid content is different in different forms. So sialic acid content is different because of the post-translational modification. So that is also one way how the isoenzymes may be formed. Now how these isoenzymes can be identified? So they can be identified by various methods. For example, electrophoresis. By electrophoresis, isoenzymes have different mobility and therefore they can be separated by electrophoresis. LDH, alkaline phosphatase, CK isoenzymes. They can be separated by electrophoresis. Then heat stability of isoenzymes is different. Some forms are easily denatured by heat. For example, bone isoenzyme of alkaline phosphatase is easily denatured by heat. So it is heat labile. Then inhibitors may be different. For example, acid phosphatase present in the prostate is tartarate labile, means inhibited by the tartarate. So one of the isoenzymes may be sensitive to one inhibitor. For example, tartarate labile ACP, acid phosphatase present in the prostate. Prostatic acid phosphatase is tartarate labile, means inhibited by tartarate. Then Km value of isoenzymes may be different. For example, glucokinase has high Km and hexokinase has low Km for glucose. So Km value is also different. Then cofactor. Cofactor requirement may be also different. For example, mitochondrial isocitrate dehydrogenase requires NAD and cytoplasmic isocitrate dehydrogenase requires NADP. So cofactor requirement may also be different. Then tissue localization may be also different. For example, LDH1 is present mostly in the heart and LDH5 is present in the skeletal muscle. So tissue localization is also different. Tissue localization may be different, cofactor requirement different, Km value may be different, inhibitors may be different, and heat stability may be different, and electrophoretic mobilities can also be different, so that they can be identified or separated by electrophoresis. So these are the various points by which isoenzymes can be identified. So isoenzymes of LDH, lactate dehydrogenase enzyme is a tetramer with 4 subunits. Subunit may be either H or M. So 5 combination of H and M chains are possible. So 5 combinations are possible. All units are H. So H4, that is LDH1. Then 3H and 1M, that is LDH2. Then 2H and 2M, that is LDH3. 1H and 3M, that is LDH4. And all subunits are M, that is LDH5. So H4 is LDH1 and M4 is LDH5. LDH1 is present mainly in heart and LDH5 mainly present in skeletal muscle and liver. Now this is the table showing characteristic features of LDH isoenzymes. So LDH1, it contains 4 H units and it has got fastest electrophoretic mobility at pH 8.6. It is not destroyed by heat at 60 degrees Celsius for 30 minutes. It is mainly present in heart and RBCs and percentage is 30% of the total LDH. 30% is LDH1. LDH2, H3, M1. It is faster, not destroyed, present in heart and RBCs and it is more 35%. So in the normal person, LDH2 is more than LDH1. LDH2 is more than LDH1. LDH1 is 30%, LDH2 is 35%. Then LDH3, its electrophoretic mobility is medium fast. It is partially destroyed by heat and it is mainly present in brain and also in kidney and it is percentage is 20%. LDH4, H1M3, it is slow, electrophoretic mobility is slow. It is destroyed by heat at 60 degrees Celsius for 30 minutes. It is present mainly in liver and also present in skeletal muscle. It is 10% of the total LDH. And LDH5, it contains all the subunits as M4. LDH1 is H4, LDH5 is M4. It is slowest, it is having slowest electrophoretic mobility and it is destroyed by heat or its activity is destroyed at 60 degrees Celsius for 30 minutes, and it is mainly present in skeletal muscle and also present in liver. Normally it is very less, 5% of the total. So normal person LDH2 is more than LDH1. LDH5 is seen in skeletal muscles and LDH1 is seen in heart. And normally LDH2 is greater than LDH1, but this pattern is reversed in myocardial infarction, and this is called as flipped pattern. Flipped pattern. LDH level is 100 times more inside the RBCs than in plasma, and therefore minor amounts of hemolysis will result in false positive test. Since total LDH is increased in many conditions, LDH is not used. Total LDH is not used as a cardiac marker. Total LDH is not used. LDH1 is increased in heart myocardial infarction. So LDH1 is used as a marker of myocardial infarction, but not total LDH. And hemolyzed sample should not be taken for LDH estimation because LDH level is 100 times more inside the RBCs. And if we take the hemolyzed sample, false positive high value will be there. So hemolyzed sample should be avoided or should not be taken while estimating the LDH level in the blood. LDH1 is mainly present in the heart muscle and it is inhibited by the pyruvate. So pyruvate is the substrate, but it is inhibited by the pyruvate, and hence pyruvate is not converted to lactate, but pyruvate is converted to acetyl CoA in the heart muscle. Pyruvate is converted to acetyl CoA but not converted to lactate because LDH in the heart muscle is inhibited by pyruvate. So it has got high Km for pyruvate. High Km means low affinity for pyruvate, and therefore it is inhibited by the pyruvate, and this is suited for the aerobic environment which is present in the heart muscle. Aerobic environment is present in the heart muscle, and therefore pyruvate is converted to acetyl CoA, and pyruvate is not converted to lactate in the heart muscle. But LDH5 which is present in skeletal muscle, it is not inhibited by pyruvate and it has got low Km for pyruvate. That means it has got high affinity for pyruvate, and here pyruvate is converted to lactate because it is not inhibited, and therefore it is more suited for anaerobic environment in the skeletal muscle. Pyruvate is converted to lactate by the lactate dehydrogenase enzyme in the skeletal muscle, but in the heart muscle pyruvate is not converted to lactate. Instead pyruvate is converted to acetyl CoA, and therefore this is well suited for aerobic environment in heart muscle and anaerobic environment in skeletal muscle. Now this is the diagram showing the level of the LDH. In normal person or healthy individuals, activity of LDH2 is higher than LDH1. In normal person, LDH2 is higher than LDH1. But in case of myocardial infarction, this is the second myocardial infarction. This is A is normal human subject. In normal human subject, LDH2 is more than LDH1, and in myocardial infarction, LDH1 is more than LDH2. So this is called as flipped pattern in myocardial infarction. And C is a liver disease patient, and in this LDH5 is increased. LDH5 is increased more. So LDH5 increased in liver disease, LDH1 increased in myocardial infarction, and LDH2 is normally more than LDH1 in normal person. So this is the pattern of LDH alteration. So LDH5 is indicator of serum, LDH5 is indicator of liver disease, LDH1 is indicator of myocardial infarction. Next is, what are the applications of LDH? Elevation of LDH1 and 2 occurs within 24 to 48 hours after myocardial infarction. Predominant elevation of LDH2 and 3 occurs in leukemia, LDH3 is elevated in malignancy of many tissues. LDH5 elevation occurs in liver diseases and skeletal muscle diseases. LDH2 is predominant in normal serum and LDH5 is very less in normal serum. But in myocardial infarction, LDH1 is greater than LDH2. So this is called as flipped pattern in myocardial infarction. And in liver diseases, LDH5 is increased. Then it is also increased in toxic hepatitis with jaundice. LDH5 is increased. In muscular dystrophy also LDH5 is increased. And megaloblastic anemia, here LDH1 and 2 both are increased. LDH3 is increased in renal disease, tubular necrosis or pyelonephritis. In renal disease or kidney disease, LDH3 is increased because LDH3 is present in kidneys, and also in pulmonary embolism due to massive destruction of platelets. This LDH3 is increased. Total LDH is increased in many cancers or malignancies. LDH5 is increased in breast cancer, malignancies of CNS, prostatic carcinoma. In leukemias, LDH2 and LDH3 levels are increased. And in malignant tumors of testes and ovaries, LDH2, 3 and 5 levels are increased. So, LDH isoenzymes are also increased in the malignancies. This is the slide showing the electrophoresis of LDH isoenzymes. This is the cathode or negatively charged electrode, and anode is positively charged electrode. The LDH moves, this is the line of application. LDH moves from moves towards the positive electrode, that is the anode, and LDH1 is having fastest electrophoretic mobility. LDH2 is having less than that, then LDH3, then LDH4, and LDH5 is slowest. So fastest electrophoretic mobility is of LDH1. So if this LDH1 is increased in size, then it is the indicator of myocardial infarction. And if LDH5 is increased, then it is indicator of liver disease. So this, by the process of electrophoresis, LDH isoenzymes can be separated. LDH1 is fastest moving fraction towards the anode, and LDH5 is slowest moving isoenzyme. LDH1 predominates in cardiac muscles and RBCs, and LDH5 is most abundant in liver and skeletal muscles. Then next we will discuss the isoenzymes of creatinine phosphokinase. It is not creatinine, it is creatine phosphokinase. It catalyzes conversion of creatine to creatine phosphate. Normal serum level is for total 15 to 100 for males and 10 to 80 for females. It contains or consists of 3 isoenzymes. CK consists of 3 isoenzymes. There are 2 subunits, B and M. So this creatine phosphokinase CPK catalyzes conversion of creatine to creatine phosphate, and this is in the muscle. It is an important enzyme in energy metabolism, and it is the immediate source of ATP in the contracting muscles. This creatine phosphate converts ADP to ATP. So this is the source of ATP. This CPK converts creatine to creatine phosphate, and creatine phosphate converts ADP to ATP. So this creatine phosphate is source of ATP for the contracting muscles, and therefore this CK enzyme or CPK enzyme is important in the muscles. So this is about the isoenzymes of CK. It is also called as CPK or CK. Normally or there are total 3 isoenzymes, CK1, CK2 and CK3. CK1 is BB, CK2 is MB and CK3 is MM. Both units are M here, and here both units are B. And in CK2, one unit is M and one unit is B. So it is mixed CKMB. This is called as CKMB. This is CKBB. and CK3 is CKMM. CKBB is present in brain, MB is present in heart, and MM is present in skeletal muscle. Normally, CKMM is more in the serum, 90% is CKMM, and CKMB is less, 5 to 9%, and CK1 is less, 1 to 5%, or CKMB is also less, 90% is CKMM. So, three isoenzymes CK1, CKBB found mostly in brain and lungs, CPK2 or CPKMB found mostly in heart, CPK3 or CPKMM is found mostly in skeletal muscles. So, three isoenzymes of CPK. Now, what is clinical significance of isoenzymes of CK? CPK2 is important of all these three because in myocardial infarction, CPK2 levels are increased within 4 hours and then falls rapidly. Normally, it is 2% of total CPK activity is CPK-MB. 2% or in some books it is given 5 to 9% is CPK-MB. But in myocardial infarction, CPK level is elevated up to 20 folds or increased in myocardial infarction. So, which isoenzyme of CPK is increased in myocardial infarction? CPK-MB or CKMB or CK2. So, clinical application of CK isoenzymes. CK1 is BB. It is elevated in neonates, particularly in damaged brain or very low birth weight newborn. CKBB is elevated. Or CKMB level is increased in myocardial infarction. Cardiac tissue is the only tissue which has mixed isoenzyme. Mixed means both M and B present. CKMB is present only in the heart. CKMB is not elevated in skeletal muscle disorders, or even if it is elevated very slightly. CKMB isoenzyme starts to increase within 4 hours after an acute myocardial infarction and reaches a maximum within 24 hours. So, it is an early marker. CKMB isoenzyme is an early marker. It starts to increase within 4 hours. Therefore, it is an early marker or earliest marker of myocardial infarction. And elevated levels of CK3 or MM occurs in muscular dystrophies and myopathies because this CK3 isoenzyme is present in skeletal muscles. Therefore, CK3 level is increased in muscular dystrophies and myopathies. So, in this figure it is shown CKMB is the earliest marker of myocardial infarction and it comes to normal in 2 days and it peak occurs at 24 hours. So, CKMB is the earliest marker. Then next is AST, that is SGOT, and next is LDH, that is a heart specific LDH, means LDH1. LDH when it starts to rise, not early, it starts to rise but it reaches peak at 3 to 4 days and then comes to normal limit within 8 days. So, this LDH is takes more time to start rise, but CKMB is the earliest marker for myocardial infarction. Then next is isoenzymes of ALP, that is alkaline phosphatase. So, there are total 6 enzymes, isoenzymes of alkaline phosphatase. Alpha 1, alpha 2 heat labile. So, here it should be alpha 2, not beta 2. Here it is by mistake, it is shown beta 2. It is also alpha 2. So, alpha 2 heat stable, alpha 2 heat labile, alpha 2 heat stable, then pre beta ALP, then gamma ALP and leukocyte ALP. So, these are the various forms of the alkaline phosphatase isoenzyme. So, alpha 1 ALP occurs in biliary canaliculi, alpha 2 heat labile occurs in hepatocytes, alpha 2 heat stable occurs in placenta pre-beta ALP occurs in bone, gamma ALP occurs in intestine, and leukocyte ALP occurs in leukocytes. So most is 50% is pre-beta ALP, and next to that 25% is alpha 2 heat labile ALP. So it occurs in liver, and this pre-beta ALP occurs in bone. So these are the tissues of the origin, and these are the different forms of the isoenzymes of ALP. Alpha 1 ALP, alpha 2 heat labile, alpha 2 heat stable, pre-beta, gamma, and leukocyte ALP. Alpha 1 ALP moves in alpha position. It is synthesized by epithelial cells of biliary canaliculi. It is about 10% of total activity and is increased in obstructive jaundice. Alpha 2 heat labile is stable at 56 degrees Celsius but loses its activity when kept at 65 degrees Celsius for 30 minutes. It is produced by hepatic cells and increased level occurs in hepatitis. Liver isoenzyme forms about 25% of the total ALP. So alpha 1 ALP is increased in obstructive jaundice. Alpha 2 heat labile ALP is increased in liver diseases, that is hepatitis. Then next is alpha 2 heat stable ALP. It is not destroyed by heat at 65 degrees Celsius, but it is inhibited by phenylalanine. Alpha 2 heat stable ALP is inhibited by phenylalanine, and its origin is from placenta. So it is of placental origin, and it is found in blood in normal pregnancy. An isoenzyme closely resembling the placental form is characteristically seen in circulation in about 15% cases of carcinoma of lung, liver, and gut or GI tract, and it is named as Regan isoenzyme or carcinoplacental isoenzyme. Normal level is only 1% of total ALP. So alpha 2 heat stable ALP is of placental origin, and it is found in blood in normal pregnancy. But one isoenzyme which is closely resembling to this placental form is seen in the circulation, that is called as Regan isoenzyme, and when it is seen in circulation, its name is Regan isoenzyme or other name is carcinoplacental isoenzyme. So it is seen in conditions like carcinoma of lung, liver, and GI tract, and it is about, normally it is not present, or normal level of this alpha 2 heat stable ALP is only 1% of the total ALP. But similar to this isoenzyme, the other isoenzyme called Regan isoenzyme or carcinoplacental isoenzyme is seen in cases of carcinoma of lung, liver, and gut, and that is called as Regan isoenzyme. So what is Regan isoenzyme? It is isoenzyme of alkaline phosphatase, which level is in the level of which is increased in certain malignancies like carcinoma of lung, liver, and GI tract. So that is called as Regan isoenzyme or carcinoplacental isoenzyme. Then next isoenzyme is pre-beta alkaline phosphatase. It is of bone origin and its elevated levels are seen in bone diseases. So it is heat labile and this constitute about 50% of the normal ALP activity. So normally 50% is bone ALP or pre-beta ALP, and its level is increased in bone diseases. Pre-beta ALP level are increased in bone diseases. And gamma ALP is inhibited by phenylalanine and originates from intestinal cells. Its level is increased in ulcerative colitis. Gamma ALP level increased in ulcerative colitis. Normally about 10% is gamma ALP, and pre-beta ALP is 50% normally, and it is increased in bone diseases. Pre-beta ALP increased in bone diseases, gamma ALP increases in ulcerative colitis, and last isoenzyme is leukocyte alkaline phosphatase. It is decreased in chronic myeloid leukemia and increased in lymphomas. So these are the different forms of these are the different isoenzymes of alkaline phosphatase. Cardiac biomarkers. These are the serum enzymes or other substances which are increased in the heart diseases. Biomarker is useful in detecting dysfunction of an organ. Cardiac biomarkers are tested in if there is any chest pain or unstable angina, suspicious ECG changes, or history suggestive of myocardial infarction or following surgical coronary revascularization or patients with hypotension and dyspnea. So, for what these are done? To detect the myocardial ischemia at the earliest, monitor the progression of the condition, and predict the risk in the cardiac dysfunction. So, what is the level of myocardial ischemia, or if myocardial ischemia is present or not, or if it is present, what is the extent or what is the severity, and how this condition is progressing, whether it is recovering or getting more worsen, and predict the risk. So, for this, the cardiac biomarkers are tested or measured. Markers for cardiac diseases. These are CKMB, cardiac troponin I, cardiac troponin T. CTI and CTT are not true enzymes. Then brain natriuretic peptide BNP. BNP is reliable marker of ventricular function. And other is LDH, lactate dehydrogenase 1. And other is aspartate transaminase or SGOT. So these are the markers for cardiac diseases. So what are cardiac troponins? These are not enzymes, but they are accepted as reliable markers for myocardial infarction. Cardiac troponins. They are not enzymes, but they are markers for myocardial infarction. They have become one of the main tests in early detection of an ischemic episode and in monitoring the patient. The troponin complex consists of three components: troponin C, troponin I, and troponin T. Troponin C, troponin I, and troponin T. So this is troponin I and this is troponin T. They are important in the myocardial infarction. They are important in the diagnosis of the myocardial infarction for the early detection. Cardiac troponin I and cardiac troponin T. So troponin I is actomycin ATPase inhibitory subunit and troponin T is tropomycin binding subunit. So remember just troponin I and troponin T. So totally there are three troponin. Troponin complex consists of three components: troponin C, troponin I, and troponin T. But out of this, troponin I and troponin T, they are reliable markers for myocardial infarction. They are early markers, or they are important in the early detection of an ischemic episode and monitoring the patient. They are not enzymes, but they are markers for myocardial infarction. Troponin I is released into the blood within 4 hours after the onset of symptoms of myocardial ischemia, and peak level at 14 to 24 hours and remains elevated for 3 to 5 days post infarction. So troponin I is the earliest marker for the myocardial infarction because it starts to rise within 4 hours after the onset of the symptoms. It is a very useful marker at any time interval because it remains for 3 to 5 days after the infarction. It is not increased in muscle injury, whereas CK2 may be slightly elevated in the muscle injury. CTI, troponin I, is not elevated in muscle injury. And serum level of troponin T, it also indicator, but it increases within 6 hours and reaches peak at 72 hours and remains elevated for 7 to 14 days. So troponin T and troponin I, these are the better markers of myocardial infarction. They are not enzymes, but they are cardiac markers for early detection of the myocardial infarction or early diagnosis. So this is the table showing the various markers for myocardial infarction. These are myoglobin, troponin I, troponin T, CKMB, AST, and LDH. And here LDH is LDH1. So myoglobin is also earlier marker, and troponin I is early marker, CKMB is early marker, and AST is not specific, LDH1 is specific for heart. Total LDH is not specific. LDH1 is specific, but early marker is CKMB. It starts to rise in 3 to 6 hours and reaches peak at 18 to 24 hours and returns to normal level. But this troponin I remains elevated for 5 to 9 days. So troponin I and CKMB. Troponin I is also early marker. CKMB is also early marker, but CKMB remains elevated only for 2 days and troponin I remains elevated for 5 to 9 days. So these are the various markers for myocardial infarction: myoglobin, troponin I, troponin T, CKMB, AST and LDH. So LDH remains elevated, LDH1, it remains elevated for 10 to 15 days. But its rise starts somewhat late and CKMB starts to rise early. So earliest marker is CKMB, troponin I and myoglobin. The next is myoglobin. Myoglobin is also elevated in myocardial infarction, but it is not specific for myocardial infarction because it can also be increased in muscle injuries. So if myoglobin is increased, that means there can be myocardial infarction or there can be muscle injuries. But myoglobin level, if it is normal, then that definitely indicates that myocardial infarction is not there. That means if normal level of myoglobin is there, that will exclude infarction. Level rises within 1 to 4 hours, reaches peak in 6 to 7 hours and remains elevated for 24 hours. So myoglobin is also early marker, but it is also increased in muscle injuries. Same slide is shown here. CKMB is the earliest marker, then next comes AST and then next comes LDH1. So LDH1 remains elevated for more period, that is for 8 days and AST for 5 days and CKMB just for 2 days. The next marker is brain natriuretic peptide. The natriuretic peptide family consists of 3 peptides: ANP, BNP, CNP. ANP means atrial natriuretic peptide, BNP brain natriuretic peptide and CNP means C-type natriuretic peptide. So out of this, ANP is produced in atria, cardiac atria, and BNP is present in human brain, but it is more present in cardiac ventricles. BNP is present in ventricles, cardiac ventricles. So BNP is formed from proBNP. Human proBNP contains 108 amino acids and it is cleaved by the enzymes within the cardiac myocytes to active C-terminal BNP and inactive peptide. So both are in circulation. Active BNP is secreted by the ventricles of heart in response to excessive stretching of the heart muscle cells. So BNP level is increased in it. If increased level of BNP is there, then that indicates the ventricular dysfunction or ventricles of the heart, they are not properly functioning. BNP level is increased. BNP is brain natriuretic peptide. That is also marker for, that is also considered as a cardiac marker. Patients with congestive heart failure have high plasma concentration of ANP and BNP. Concentrations are correlated with the extent of ventricular dysfunction. So these are not the markers of myocardial infarction, they are markers of congestive cardiac failure. If congestive cardiac failure is there and if there is a ventricular dysfunction, then ANP and BNP levels are increased. High concentration of BNP predict poor long-term survival. So best marker of ventricular dysfunction is proBNP. BNP is also there, but proBNP is the best marker of ventricular dysfunction. So we will summarize the profiles in various diseases, enzyme profile. So which enzyme level will be measured in the serum in liver diseases? To diagnose the liver diseases, the enzymes commonly measured are ALT, that is alanine transferase or alanine transaminase, then aspartate aminotransferase, alkaline phosphatase, nucleotide phosphatase or 5' nucleotidase, and GGT, that is gamma glutamyl transferase or gamma glutamyl transpeptidase. So these are the enzymes which are measured in the liver disease to diagnose the liver disease. So this is called as liver panel, enzyme profile in liver diseases. Which enzymes are estimated in muscle diseases? AST, CPK, aldolase. These are estimated in suspected muscle diseases. In muscular dystrophies, these levels of enzymes are increased because of the leakage of enzymes from the damaged cells. CPK is the most reliable indicator of muscular diseases. CPK-MM is increased in muscle diseases, and total CPK, aldolase, both are increased in the muscular dystrophies or muscle diseases. Now, which enzymes will be measured in bone diseases? The important enzyme is serum alkaline phosphatase. It is measured in bone diseases. It is the only useful assay. It is most valuable index of osteoblastic activity. Increased ALP activity is seen in rickets, osteomalacia, hyperparathyroidism, and in Paget's disease. And in malignancies of bone, the level depends on severity and degree of the new bone formation. And in hypophosphatasia or hypophosphatemia, when there is defective calcification, low serum ALP activity is observed. So which enzyme we will measure in bone diseases? Alkaline phosphatase. So we will summarize the enzyme pattern in diseases. If liver diseases, ALT, AST, alkaline phosphatase, GGT, and 5' nucleotidase. In myocardial infarction, cardiac troponin T and cardiac troponin I, then CKMB, then LDH1 and AST. In muscle diseases, CKMM, AST, and aldolase. Aldolase is earliest enzyme to rise but not specific for muscle diseases. So aldolase and CKMM and to some extent AST. It is not specific for muscle disease. So in bone diseases, alkaline phosphatase level is measured, and in prostate cancer, prostate specific antigen and acid phosphatase levels are measured. Prostate specific antigen is marker for prostate cancer. Mild increase can occur in benign prostate enlargement. And acid phosphatase, it is a marker for prostate cancer. Metastatic bone disease, especially from prostate, in that ACP level is increased, that is acid phosphatase. And this is a tartarate labile that is inhibited by L-tartarate. And in pancreatic diseases, two enzymes, amylase and lipase. Amylase is marker for acute pancreatitis, and it is also marker for inflammation of salivary glands. So it is increased in mumps, that is the infection of parotid glands. And lipase is specific marker for pancreatitis. It is more specific than amylase because it is not increased in inflammation of salivary glands. So lipase is more specific marker for pancreatitis. So these are the various enzyme profile in the various diseases. Thank you.